Our guests this week are barbecue royalty Michelle and Andrew Muñoz from Mooscraft Barbecue in Los Angeles.
I've never experienced barbecue like this. This is different.
Emerging from total obscurity a decade ago.
I used to be a hairstylist.
I worked corporate world and, it was stressful.
Moose took the food world by storm, winning Michelin's Bib Gourmand and 2 James Beard Chef of the Year nominations.
It's reached a lot in a very short period of time.
Turning a backyard barbecue obsession into one of California's most celebrated restaurants. Their inspiring adventure would have crushed most entrepreneurs.
And I think we both drove home like, holy shit, what did we do?
But there's no quit in this husband and wife team.
Things aren't always going to be smooth. We're high school sweethearts. We've been together 30 years this year.
In this fire-fueled episode, Andrew and Michelle leave it all on the table.
Managing the business side, but also taking time for us. It's finding the balance.
The last couple of years has brought us the most challenges and most tests in our relationship.
I have just one piece of advice for you about today's episode. Don't
Recreating the spices, the acidity, the flavors. Taking a bite of the beef rib. Holy smokes. I don't even want to reach for the sauce.
hungry.
I love Texas-style barbecue, and we let that show with the brisket ribs and the sausage.
Welcome to On the Pass. I'm Gabriel Ornelas. This show exists because of you, our listeners, our viewers, our global community. So thank you for being here, for showing up, and for caring about the story and the people behind the experience. Because food is never just food, and hospitality is never just hospitality. Long before cities or screens, we had fire, a place that brought us together, a place that asked us to slow down, to share, and to learn how to live side by side. In many ways, hospitality is where community begins. On the Pass is a show that celebrates people, the icons, the innovators, the creatives, the builders, using food, travel, and gathering as a way to connect and move ideas forward. It's for anyone who ever sat at a dinner and left changed by the conversation. For anyone who believes that some of the most important work doesn't just happen in the boardroom, but at the dinner table. If these conversations resonate with you, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. This allows us to continue to grow our community and bring you more stories from around the world. We're just getting started, and I'm so glad you're here. But it's good to see the both of you.
It's good to see you too.
It's good to be seen. It was it was exciting last week to spend time with you both and really experience the magic. But I want to hear about coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it about coffee? Like, what have you become obsessed with?
I've always loved coffee.
Yeah.
I don't really think I need it to keep me going or to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I could drink like 5. Yesterday, I think I had 4 lattes or espressos.
Yeah.
So we bought a coffee machine. Mm-hmm. As soon as I wake up, I grind the shots, pour them, try different roasters. But I really like lucky for me, it's down the street from my house, but a small mom and pop, 2 best friends, the same high school as us. Mm-hmm. They own it, but they roast their own beans, and so I buy the beans from those guys.
What's the name? Let's
called
shout them out.
Ground Up Coffee.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, I think I have 2 10-pound bags and some fellows containers to keep it.
And you'll
nice
be done
fresh.
with that by the end of this week.
Oh, I go through like 4 bags sometimes every other week.
He'll ask me almost every hour, you want a coffee?
Yeah.
Are you a coffee aficionada as well?
Since I was little, yeah. Since I was
yeah.
very little. Since I was a toddler, pretty much. My great grandma got me addicted to it. Little teaspoon, little cup. She had this little green cup of coffee, and every morning in las mañanas, the cafecito was ready to go. Company's over. So I think I was drinking coffee long before you did.
Oh, I didn't like coffee.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I remember graduating high school.
Michelle was the gateway drug
into
going to
like
going to a trade school and like drinking it because I needed to stay awake that early in the morning. And then it wasn't until I got into like corporate world and I went to go get like Starbucks or something downstairs with one of my coworkers, and he was drinking it black. I was like, how can you do that? He's like, it'll taste better if you drink it that way. You get rid of all the cream.
Yeah.
And so I started drinking it like that, and I've probably been doing it like that for over 15 years. But now that I have the espresso machine, I'm trying to figure out like some latte art. And, I'm obsessed with getting that down.
He's now doing beautiful little
He
leaves
really is.
and flowers.
He really is nailing it down.
I got the hearts kind of down. I'm trying to get to like a Rosetta, but I know people follow me. They probably want to see more barbecue content. But it's a lot of latte art lately.
Yeah. They're like, what's going on? Why is he like on the coffee?
Is this the right page?
I was like, is he seating? Is there a Mooscraft, cafe coming up?
I know. Hey, you never know.
Hello. No.
Like
she's like, no, eject.
No.
No.
We'll call it Mocha Moose.
There you go.
He used to, so he didn't used to drink coffee. Then I got him into coffee. And then I used to drink my coffee with a little bit of milk and a little bit of sugar. And then he's the one that got me into drinking coffee black. And now I can't go back. Like if I'm having a drip or a pour over, I need it café negro, nothing. Yeah. But if I'm having a latte or, something like that, then
especially if it's quality coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to be able to taste it.
It's one thing if it's not quality, you're at nothing against a gas station or something like that. Right. But like put a little sugar, put a little cream, and you're like, okay, go about my day. But if it's quality, no, you want to taste the terroir. You want to taste the beans. You want to taste the floral, the fruity, the spicy, like all those different.
But there's nothing wrong with like a nice like hot cup of like mid coffee from like a diner.
Of course.
Like you go to like the pantry.
Yeah.
And hopefully when they reopen again, but you go there and you get your breakfast and you get that coffee and it's some basic stuff, but it's so good, right? Yeah.
But that's that like. I think it's more the nostalgia though, of it. It's funny. We had Nancy Silverton on the show recently, and we were laughing about how we were talking about Max and Helen's and talking about how she's going up against people's memories. Yeah. Because like you'll either validate someone's memories or this waffle isn't the way my grandmother did it, or this omelet isn't the way my grandmother did it. And so it's kind of, but like, I think memory plays such an important role.
Yeah.
And so like when you're at a diner, you're like, yeah, this isn't the best cup of coffee, but like it brings back that, it hits with the combination with those French toast or something like that. You're like, it's just the perfect, because it brings you back, to a time. It's a good segue into, I think we should talk about barbecue.
Hey.
A little
barbecue. Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about coffee the whole time. Your followers can be like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's like, damn,
what's happening?
Latte art and coffee talk.
But I want to kind of set the tone, because like when you look back to those early days of smoking meat in the backyard and becoming really obsessed with this, was it a hobby then, or was it like this quiet act of belief in yourself?
It was just a hobby. It was for fun. I worked corporate world and 8 hours there, but a lot of times you bring your work home with you, and I'd be working another 4 to 6 hours just to kind of keep up with some accounts, and it was stressful. So in like my downtime, I always liked grilling. I think I got that from my dad. Not a great cook, but from when I was a kid, I just remember he was always grilling or doing something in the back. And so I think I got that from him. And so, when I became an adult and we settled down a little bit, stopped going out and, drinking and partying as much with friends, it was like, let's cook at home. Let's do these different things. And so I naturally gravitated to outside and doing that as a hobby, and I never got into barbecue because it's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that time, you weren't thinking about building a business or building a life through this.
No, I just thought it was fun. I remember going to like Bloodso's, the original one in Compton, and walking into that greasy back lot. Like I pressure wash our floors all the time, but I remember those floors, and they would do like all their turkey boils and all that for Thanksgiving. So Kevin said that they used to have like all those tanks out there, and all that drip over the years. I remember it being like dingy but cool, and seeing these, like, he had this one offset smoker. It's probably a close kind of thinking a memory of the design, and it, no knock on him, he had like a Dallas Cowboy plaque on it, but other than that plaque, I was just like, damn, that thing is so cool. Like, it must be so hard to like cook like that. And I think I kind of like the initial like interest way back then, but I never really thought like I want to do this. But I thought it would be cool to learn how to do this for myself, you know, just for fun, just to hang out at home. And so I didn't really get the bug, but I got the interest. And so we would go to Bloodso's pretty often back in, I don't know when that was.
We've always loved barbecue.
Early 2000s. And then I got the first taste in Texas. And then when I had that, then I was just like, oh, wow, like this is a little different than what Kevin was doing. And then I really appreciated what it was. And I was like, how do I do this? And when I started going down that rabbit hole, then it was like, I want to figure this out. And then a year in, 2 years in, it was just like, I think it was once we got into the pop-ups, it was fun. And I never really thought I want to do a pop-up to open a restaurant or that. We didn't think that at all. It was, she was a stay-at-home mom. We needed a little disconnection from the weekly gig, raising kids, and interact with different people. And we started a pop-up, and it was fun. And then even then, like a year in, people were like, what are you going to do next? And we're like, oh, we're just having fun. Like, we have no plan of opening a restaurant until we decided, you know what? Let's see where this can go.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing. What was there a moment or a memory or a taste from those early R&D trips that sort of opened your mind in a way as you were sort of like exploring Texas and going like, this is like, we can bring this to LA. We can make this happen.
I don't know that there was, maybe not for me, like a real moment, but I remember like so when I had the barbecue in, it was in the Dallas area. I went to a really good spot. I think it was like 2008 in that range. I just remember having that and being blown away. And then going down that rabbit hole and then bringing barbecue home. I would bring barbecue home for her to try. So I would pack for meetings, but pack light because I wanted to leave enough space in my luggage to bring back some brisket or some whatever it was. And
so this was like a packed like carry-on or
he would text
it was a carry-on.
He would be like, oh my God, I just had this unbelievable barbecue. And you know, like when he had his first beef rib,
did it travel well?
It does.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah. I mean, the flights are like, what, 2.5, 3 hours?
About 3 hours. Carry on.
Carry
on. Yeah.
The original Gold Belly.
Yeah, the original. Legit.
The original.
Trafficking pounds of barbecue from
so like, bring me back some. Bring me back. And I was really interested in the barbecue, but I was also interested in the whole package. So I'd be like, well, bring me something like, I need something to go with it. Bring me some sides. Bring me some sweets. I want to know what else are they serving this barbecue with. And he did. You know, he'd bring in a little container, pack it up really, really well. And he'd open it up right away when he'd get home. And I'd turn on the microwave and warm it up carefully. And I'd eat it. And it was great. But I think for me, it wasn't until it was starting to get more serious. And we were both now starting to go down a rabbit hole. And I was like, I really need to try it fresh. I want to go experience what I had never been to Texas before. I want to go experience what the vibe is like, what the culture is like, what everything you're experiencing. But I want to go with time, with like con calma, you know? So we did. We booked a trip 2016 together. My mom watched the kids, and it was like that nice reset that we needed in Texas. And I remember off the flight, he had never been to Austin.
Yeah, we went
and that's
Austin.
where we booked our first trip. And we right off the plane, we went to La Barbecue. And this was before La Barbecue had their brick and mortar. So they were still in their trailer, and it was such a cool vibe. And I remember driving in Austin and seeing a lot of trailer parks with food trucks and very like communal and benches, and like, God, this is such a cool vibe. It was very different than what you see in LA. We don't have that here. We have food trucks, but not in that way. So we got off, we ordered, I think we ordered some brisket. No, they didn't have brisket. Was it a beef rib? Some sausage? Because those are the two things I remember the most.
They had beef rib, they had sausage, and they had the El Sancho Loco or something like that.
The
which
sandwich.
was like their barbecue sandwich. So if you do barbecue, everybody has their version of that sandwich, and they call it something different. Ours is a sloppy moo, but we had that sandwich and their sides and
potato salad and slaw. And they had like 2 or 3 sides. It wasn't a big menu with sides. And I remember going, butcher paper ripped off, very like rustic, right? Maybe some utensils, maybe not, because barbecue is intended to eat with your hands. Barbecue sauce was an afterthought, and I wasn't used to that because in LA it's saucy. It's saucy. I remember taking a bite of the sausage and being like, "Whoa!" Like I've never experienced barbecue like this. This is different. I've had good barbecue, but this is on another level. Taking a bite of the beef rib, holy smoke, like I don't even want to reach for the sauce. And then the sides were just very, very humble. Sides that were meant to complement the barbecue, not take the tension away, but just well seasoned and simple. And I loved that. Like I felt like I was eating something extremely special without it feeling necessarily pretentious. And then, as we continued to do like our barbecue crawls throughout other places, we had a whole list. We're like, we're going here. Like there were some days that we were hitting 3-4 spots in one day, right? I got to see how every restaurant's vibe was, whether it was a brick and mortar or a truck, and how communal, and people waited in line, and it was like, I don't know, like almost like it's just a culture.
It's very cultural there.
People wake up early. They know it's like, if I want it, I got to get there early. I got to, or I'm going to miss my shot.
Yeah, people
make
plan their
friends.
day. They
people
plan their day
around
you got like
which
Snow's
is very
Barbecue, and they open at 8 a.m. And it's an hour outside of Austin, and like you get there and there's a line.
There's a line.
Probably from like, at least at that time when we were going, they opened at 8. The line was maybe 6-ish. It would start, and they did that Netflix show, and now their line starts at like 2 a.m. Even
imagine.
The night before, which
I can imagine.
It's wild. Yeah.
Well, it was amazing. When we went to visit you last week, it was like the one day where it was pouring rain, and still
crazy.
It was crazy busy.
Yeah.
It was like my dad and I were soaking
days.
wet as we as we came up there, but yet it was bustling.
Yeah.
People like
we still had a line. We were running out of tables, and I did what we have in LA. I think what we've built is really special, and I think we take that. Like that was our very first barbecue crawl in 2016. I definitely at that point still we didn't ever think that we were going to be doing this. It was just like, God, this is so cool. Like, man, like how do we bring this to LA or have something like this where we can experience it? And
it's not just bring like the food, but bring that culture. Like as well of bringing people together through barbecue, building a space where people, can connect and feel at home. And it's like quality at the highest level, but non-pretentious, super fun.
Yeah, laid back.
Laid back, kick back.
And that's
so
you've
cool.
got your prima's there, your mom's there. Like it's
and
just
you're
like
making new friends too.
Yeah.
Like we went by ourselves, but what I noticed, what was really special is that everything was very communal. So rustic, how it was served. You're you're sharing a big table sometimes with complete strangers. You're waiting in line with complete strangers, and it takes time. Like barbecue takes time to make, and a lot of times you have to wait your turn. The lines get long. So you're making friends along the way, whether it's locals, whether it's people who are traveling there. And it's so cool, like what specifically barbecue, what it does. And those connections, I think, were really what... along with the food, what really just inspired us about barbecue.
I love that. I think, a lot of people see Moos as this barbecue restaurant. It's a barbecue spot. But like, I think underneath all of that, and we were talking about this last week, there's a marriage, there's a partnership, there's a family, an actual family, and then the restaurant family. How do you protect the relationship, while building something like this intense together? Because it's challenging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, building the restaurant to something we never expected. Even when we opened, we're like, it'll be busy, it might level off, and as long as we stay steady, we can do what we love to do. But every year it seems to grow and get busier, and where we might think, oh, we probably have a quiet year, like we've got these nominations in the past, but that was the past. It'll probably be a little more simple.
Congratulations.
And then it happens again, and you're just like, wow, this machine just keeps on going. But with that, the demand, and I think the expectation becomes a little bit more, right, from the community, from the barbecue people, from customers that want to come and try it, and they hold it to like a certain level. It gets stressful, and I think managing the business side, but also taking time for us, it's finding the balance, right? So if we're having a rough week, like personally, trying not to bring that to work, and then finding time to sit down and talk, to work things through, to try to see, all right, like we need to get back on the same page. Try not to overstep. And so I think in the early years, it was a lot more like, stepping on her toes and her stepping on mine, but not intentionally. It's just we were learning. And so now, Moose is going to be at the restaurant, brick and mortar, will be 5 years old this June. So I think we've come a long way. We definitely have less of those issues. They still come up. Managing a team while raising 2 kids, finding that balance. Last year, I think not last year, but the year before was really challenging because that was year 3, and we had a lot of different experiences, a lot of growth. People wanted Moose here, people wanted Moose there. Can you cater this? We have this cool event. And I think year 1, year 2, we were just like, yes, let's do it. Yes, we got to keep growing. And then year 3, it was like, our kids are growing up. We're in the same house that we bought, before we started the podcast, and we're outgrowing it. We need to take time for us. So last year was a lot of no's. It was a lot of, I would love to do that event. Maybe we can do it in the future or something with you guys in the future. But last year was really a year for Michelle and I, and for our kids to focus on school, make sure our kids are doing well, make sure that we're not getting burnt out, and also moving, planning for our future, and knowing that as long as we're still at Moose and paying attention to all the details, we don't cook as much as we used to in the early days, but we oversee everything. I'll show up early some days, she'll show up, and we'll test the food, we'll taste the food, and I'll cover shifts, like barbecue shifts, just to make sure that I don't lose what I love doing, but also showing the team I'm going to step in and do it too, so that if I hold them to a certain level, it's not because I'm just telling them to do it, it's because I'll do it also, right? But yeah, I think just making sure the restaurant stays good, but really finding the balance for us to be okay too, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. In the first part of the year is very go, lots of demands, lots of blessings, and trying to take advantage of everything that came our way. And the restaurant has gotten to a place where it's stable, it's great. Trying to always figure out, following, I think, your intuition. I'm always about following my intuition. When is it the right time? Is this the right time to really grind and focus? And is this a really good time now to pause and breathe and really focus on also other things that matter? Communication is so important in any relationship, whether it's with your best friend, your spouse, your partner in business. It is crucial, and that is something that we've learned. We're learning. It's very different in a marriage versus having to. I think we discussed this a little bit the last time.
There are a lot of
moving parts.
There's a lot of marriages that do get into this business,
this industry,
and that's an added layer because a business partnership is kind of a marriage in and of itself as well. You have bank accounts, you have tax issues, you have the legal side of things, but also coming home at night and also checking in on each other.
Absolutely.
It's a whole nother element.
Yeah.
And finding the balance, like
Finding
you
the
said,
balance.
I think is like, we open up Instagram and there's whether it's a Bezos or someone who talks about entrepreneurship and says it's a lot of sacrifice.
It is.
But also like building a family
Right.
and then also building your restaurant family and raising kids.
You can't
and
you can't sacrifice that. Family is important. It's incredibly important. I think we do a really good job. And I think we do a really good job. Andrew and I, we set aside a lot of date nights. We do that a lot to disconnect, whether that's from the kids or for the restaurant. We've had to learn how to separate the two things. So
is there a shut-off moment at the night where
we try?
Yeah, I think we're getting better at it.
We're getting better at it. It's not always easy.
Of
There
course.
are some things that we have to
the
bring
problems
home.
pile up. Or I don't want to say problems, the challenges.
The challenges. There you go.
Well,
Problem
they
solving.
could become problems if you don't.
Yeah.
If you don't stay
That's
on it.
exactly
Yeah.
correct.
Problem solving never ends, and problem solving is good because that helps you grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think learning how to shut it off, and there are times that we're like, we couldn't talk about this at work. There's too many people. There's not enough privacy. Unfortunately, we have to do it on our off time. It happens. It's part of the sacrifice of it. But I think we do a really good job at setting time to be with our kids. I think we're at a place now where we can do those things, which is nice. And also learning about, let's talk about guilt here, right? Like not feeling that guilt. When you carry something for so long, when you're the ones who are, the owners, operators, the ones who have built everything, it's really hard sometimes to learn, I need to let go a little bit.
Well, because it's your other child.
We've had
so many chefs and restaurateurs talk about like, I've got a kid at home, but then I also have like this living, breathing, evolving entity that is the restaurant that you have to nurture.
Yes.
But also you do have to kind of, just like a child, you have to let them.
Yes.
You have to let them grow.
You have to let them grow as well. You can't oversee everything.
Yeah. You cannot.
Our restaurant's like a toddler right now, still, right?
It's going to be 5.
It's going to be 5, or a little older than a toddler. But we have an employee that started
advanced
with us.
Though, like an advanced.
Advanced, yeah.
Head of their class.
They are, they're on the honor roll. We have one of our employees started with us the day we opened the restaurant and had we opened in June. His son was born in July, so. His son is 5 or going to be 5. And so it's like we see the restaurant is just like, wow, we've been doing this for so long. But then we see our employee's son, and it's just like, it's still really just a baby, right? Like we're in those fun years.
Was there a moment in like the earlier days that you both looked at each other and were like, this might be too much?
At the first day we opened, like legit. I think after we were like,
are we doing the right thing?
And I think we both drove home like holding back like
scared.
Like tears. Maybe we were just like, holy shit, what did we do?
I mean, but that's been since we decided to do Moose, to take Moose serious. I mean, right? Anytime you want to follow and pursue something that really, really you're passionate about and want to do, like there's always going to be doubt and fear as to what if this doesn't work out. But Andrew and I and Moose has overcome so much that it's like, from, leaving a steady job to saying we're going to do this full time, scary with 2 kids, to doing it, saying we're going to give it a year. The year went great. Like, I think we made the right choice, to then 2020 hitting. And it's like, like, what are we going to do now? That's scary fear, figuring it out, doing that. Wow. We weathered this, we overcame this, we figured out, constantly problem solving, constantly learning. Well, what's the next step? Obviously, we have something special here and we love it. We don't want to let it go. Let's try and find a place to continue to grow this and flourish. Scary, signing a lease. And also doing it on your own without much guidance and without coming from this industry. This isn't something that we've worked in or went to culinary school. Or
I worked at Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Like
that was
that was a good foundation. But like everything has been just figuring things out, and it's had a lot of fear behind it. But all of that, the dropping that fear, listening to our guts, and feeling like it's now or never, and we need to, and we have each other's support.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really cool, is that no matter what challenges you face, because that's normal in any business.
Yeah.
Andrew and I are both really invested and passionate about what we do.
And it's very easy to talk about the challenges as a partnership or as a marriage, but let's also highlight what you were saying is like the benefits of having a true partner who loves and supports you through thick and thin and goes, we're in this together.
Yep.
Like there's so many positives,
Showing up for each other.
on that side. I think something that's really interesting, whether it's friendships, business partnerships, or love relationships, this idea of how do we grow together? Because oftentimes challenges show us, ooh, this person's not for me, or this situation's not for me. But like, how do you think about like, we've really grown together and become closer and more united?
Yeah. I think the challenges have really brought that. I think challenges, whether you're in a marriage, whether you open a business or not, I think anytime there's some challenges that come in, it tests you. Those are true tests of how strong your relationship is, how you're going to show up for your partner. And I think that I know that Andrew and I always show up for each other, no matter what. Things aren't always going to be smooth. We're high school sweethearts. We've been together 30 years this year. And I have to say, crazy. I have to say that this is probably with Moose, the last couple of years has brought us the most challenges and most tests in our relationship. But it's also figuring it out, really caring, knowing that we love each other, knowing that we love what we've built, knowing that we love our family, that we love our team. There's a lot weighing on us, right? This isn't just about him and I. This is about so much more. And it doesn't just start with like Andrew and I think one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, when are you going to open on more days? Like, why are you still just Thursday through Friday? Or more locations, or like another restaurant?
They want us to come out this way.
Yeah. I mean, we always say,
I'm like, speaking of.
We always say never say never, right? Never say never. If an opportunity comes up in the future, like, look, we never thought we were going to
do what you're doing.
Thank you. Right. But it's all really about like that, right? Like we're talking about burnout, right? Like same thing with our team. Like, and I'm sure I've heard chefs talk about this before. Like if someone on your team and your cook or if they're burnt out, if they're not having a good, like that all reflects. It's like a domino effect.
For sure.
We have a small but very mighty team. I'm really proud of them, and we've learned so much from them.
Yeah, sure.
Because a lot of people on our team, they come from different backgrounds, they have different talents, they have different, creative thoughts and ideas, and they've been in this industry much longer, some of them, than we have, like 5, 10 plus years. So making sure that we're not burning them out too. We finally have gotten to a point very recently where now everyone on our team has 2 days off back to back. And that's so important to be able to disconnect from a very busy restaurant where once the doors open, it's like bam, 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 bam. It's going. Have those 2 days to go on a trip or just be home and just decompress. We were really mindful about that as well, making sure that the team isn't overworked, that they aren't, there's some days, the holiday seasons and whatnot, where we all have to just kick it up a little bit more. But for the most part, where Moose is a place that they're happy at. right? That we're cultivating a positive
because the
vibe.
customers are happy as well, and you know, you're happy,
right?
Maybe not every moment of every day, but like, you know,
but leaving the negativity outside.
Sure.
Right? Like there's so much happening in the world, and I tell my team this. We tell our team this all the time, and we try to remember this all the time. That no matter what's happening outside, we talked about it, we fixed it, we resolved it. We don't bring that to the restaurant. There's this pressure as leaders where we have to always, like, we can't put it on our team. We can't. They can't know what's going on. One of the things that I think I've learned is being vulnerable is okay. That's scary for a lot of people. And it's definitely scary to be and to open up that way with your team, because it's not, we don't want to make them feel like, oh, this is what we have going on, or this is what's happening. These are the challenges that we're having with our child or whatnot. But it helps sometimes to just sit down and talk to them like I'm talking to you, or like I'm talking to a family member. Hey, this is what's happening. You know, we need a little bit of time. We're having some challenges. And in return, it helps them also have that space where they can come to us and know that we also have their backs. We also have their support. It's also a safe place.
I think that's oftentimes, like, whether it's with friendships or business partnerships, people will always say to me, like, how do you get so close to someone, or how do you get connected? And I always say, like, because I show a piece of myself, you know, to it. And that's that vulnerability. But when people respond, like, I used to say this to people all the time, like, when I show a piece of myself, but then they don't react to that, it stifles the ability for us to become closer. And by the way, not everybody wants to do that. Right. And that's like, okay. But when you do have team members where you show a bit of yourself and then they show, that just made you connect on like another level, which I think is super beautiful. Okay, so we're going to talk about barbecue a little bit right now. So you're cooking, you know, this Central Texas style barbecue, but Moose doesn't feel like Austin though. You know, it feels like it feels LA. It feels like Lincoln Heights. Yeah. Like you know, you get that spirit. But what does this like Angelino Mexican American Texas barbecue with this like LA soul actually mean to the both of you?
It means everything to us. I think when we opened, once we decided we wanted to do it because when we were doing pop-ups, we had a lot of people from Texas. They'd come to Moose and be like, wow, like, I miss home so much a lot of times because of I want to have barbecue and I can't find it. And so we found a place for them with Moose. But when we set out to open the restaurant, for us, it was very important, one, to open in a neighborhood. LA is huge, but to open up in a neighborhood that we're familiar with, and we're both from the east side. So one, it was like, yeah, we have people calling us, investors, hey, why don't you do it out west? Why don't you do it here? Why don't you do it in a neighborhood that has a lot of foot traffic? And it's like, yeah, that's really not us. So one, it was important to find a spot that felt like home to me and to her. And our restaurant is like a couple city blocks over from where she was raised for like 4 or 5 years of her life. So she lived in Lincoln Heights as a baby. But then also, it's a Texas style barbecue joint, and we let that show with the brisket ribs and the sausage, but not necessarily with the vibe of the restaurant. And there's nothing wrong with how other people want to do it, right? If they want to put a big Texas flag up in their restaurant because it's Texas style barbecue, you know, good for them. But that really wasn't us. I love Texas style barbecue. My dad lives in Texas now, but I never felt right putting up a Texas flag. It's not home to me. But what we did do was, when we had like a little mural put in the front of the restaurant, they put like an alley hat on me, right? So it's like, it's Texas style barbecue, but we're in LA and we're 5 minutes from Dodger Stadium. So.
Staying true to who we are has always been very important. You know, Andrew and I, we don't, you know, we're not from Texas. We're not born there. But we respect the craft so much. And we always knew that, that's a big responsibility, that if we're going to, you know, do this seriously, like, we really need to make sure that we're representing Texas style barbecue properly. And I know we do. I think we do.
Without question.
But without losing ourselves in who we are, because we are from LA. We're born and raised, and we will never be able to bring the Austin, Texas vibe of barbecue, because this is not Texas. This is Los Angeles. And like you said, it's different. But what we can still bring is that communal vibe, that sense of community and love and great style of Texas. Hopefully when you're coming in, you're like, and you're trying the food, it gets you like, wait, am I in LA or am I in Austin? Like, what am I eating here? Like, this tastes like I'm at whatever place is coming to their mind, because, you know, that's the vibe that we want, right? That's what we've been working so hard to hopefully accomplish. And I think we have, you know, whether it's from transplants, people, like he said, who come and they're just like, oh my God, I'm so homesick and I miss my barbecue, I miss this spot, and you guys give me, I don't have to, you know, hop on a flight to, you know, Houston or Dallas or Austin for it. I have you guys here. Or whether that's somebody new who's never had Texas style barbecue, like us back in the day, and come to Moose and they sit down and they have it and they're just like, holy moly. And they get that vibe and that feeling that we had, what he had when he first had it, and that I had when I first. That's it for us.
Where does your childhood or those influences or just your culture show up on the plate at Moose?
Specials, sides. You know, I'm Mexican American. My mom is from Guadalajara, Jalisco. My father was born and raised in LA. So some of the things that we serve on the menu it's a mix of so many different things. I mean, we're such a melting pot here in LA.
For sure.
But we were talking about the sausage, you know, the verde sausage that I can't take off of the menu. It's one of the first sausages that we made, and we made it in we created it in our home kitchen. And
little KitchenAid stand mixer.
So we had all the cool equipment back then. You know, like small little stand mixers that are for home cooking, and we were just trying different things. And it was really important for us to be like, how do we keep things very classic, pure, and traditional, but while still incorporating who we are? And that sausage is one of them. You know, recreating the spices, the acidity, the flavors, of hopefully bringing you something that is special to me, and maybe it resonates something special in you. Sides, you know, we have a lot of fun with that. Everything on our menu isn't necessarily, you know, our Mexican heritage. It's what we grew up eating in LA, right?
It's like Angelino. It's very Angelino.
It's very Angelino. There's a little bit of Korean flair to it. There's a little bit of Chinese flair to it. There's a little bit of you know, whatever it may be. And that's where we have, as a team at Moose, an opportunity to have fun and get creative, because the brisket, the ribs, the sausage, it's very repetitive.
Sure.
And I don't think it could ever be mastered or perfected. You're constantly, you're working with so many different elements. But there's always ways to continue to make things better, to elevate it. Absolutely. But it's repetitive. Well, how else can we still show who we are? And I think that we do that really well through everything else we serve on the tray.
Yeah. No, because it's, I mean, so many people have talked about this, but, you know, really like the sides stand on their own as well. I mean, you know, like the meat and the brisket, it's phenomenal, but the sides are like, you're like, oh, wow.
For us in the early days of doing the crawls in Texas, it was like some of those earlier joints still really good, but like their focus was the meat. And like when you're in Texas, it could really just be about
they crush it.
They crush it, yeah. It's like
but then you're like, oh, okay.
I mean, some spots, like I think like Louis Mueller, it used to be a meat market back in the day, and they didn't even have sides. That's like a newer thing, and the sides are simple,
purists.
But it was just meats, right? And so I think in Texas, at least in the earlier like barbecue boom days, like they can get away with really, really good meats, and the sides are just there to fill out the plates or the trays. And I think these days, not even just us, but other people in barbecue have taken the meats to those levels, but also rounded out their trays with really good sides. And so we try to do the same. Nothing that we do at the restaurant is an afterthought. Nothing is like, yeah, we can get by with that. If it doesn't taste good that day, if something happened in a seasoning or whatever, we pull it. We don't serve it, right? But we definitely focus on all that. And I think touching on like what Michelle said about like having fun with the menu, whether it's doing like a kimchi fried rice or doing like something different with like a different meat product. It's like those are fun to do now because I think we've focused so much on the core meats, which in Texas is the Trinity brisket, ribs, and sausage. So if for us it was like, no, like the team even like, can we do these specials? Can we do these different things? And for the first 2 years, it was like, no, like I get it. Like it's repetitive. It gets a little old for you and for me. But we have customers that come through those doors for the first time.
Demand it.
And they want the hits, right? It's like when you go to a concert and your favorite artist is playing the new album that you don't really like and you wish they played some of the hits that pulled you in. It's the same thing with food, right? Like,
do you remember the movie that Jon Favreau did, Chef?
Oh yeah.
That's where you're referencing that from.
When Dustin Hoffman goes, if you
right.
go to a Stones concert and they don't play, you know,
You bum.
He's like, you'll burn the whole place down. You know,
it's like when we go see Morrissey and he plays the classics and we're just like, hell yeah, you know, and then he plays something from his new album and it's fine, but we're just like, we want to hear like the bangers, you know?
Yeah, you're like, let's move on to the next one.
But that took a couple of years to really grow the team and show them, you know, so a lot of our team members had never been to Texas. And so they didn't know. They had been to Moose, they had been to a couple of other spots, and they were really inspired and loved what we were doing, and they wanted to be a part of it. So we had to show them and train them and tell them consistency matters. And the only way to get better and the only way to continue to evolve is by doing it over and over and over and over again. It was rough the first couple of years.
That's how you get that muscle memory, though. You
so
know?
important.
Like, and you need that. Otherwise, you become a place that just continues to change.
Right.
And you know, building an institutions are not built on changing the menu every few weeks.
Right.
It's built on core, you know, products that people crave and love and they come back for.
And hopefully their experience the first time, if they loved it, hopefully when they come back, I always tell the team the goal is always for them to have the same experience or hopefully better.
Yeah.
Always. That's always the goal.
I love that. Matthew Kang wrote an article, maybe this was a couple years ago, from Eater, and he said Michelle especially brings a welcome level of service to to a barbecue experience that's mostly like a male-dominated arena.
Right.
Is that intentional, or is that's just who you are? That's your culture. That's part of like what you bring to the table, because you do feel that warmth. You feel it from your mom. You feel it from like, you know, the team members. Yeah,
it's my culture. I come from a big family. You know, family is very important to us, making people feel welcomed. Since I was a little girl, I was really used to, you know, mom, my aunt, we all made something to eat. It was, you know, for everyone. We were cooking for a ton of people. It wasn't just like poquito. It was like, no, to feed 7-8 people, it's like,
party.
What? You know, and it was always a little bit more because you never knew who was going to show up in the door. Yeah. You never knew who was going to knock, whether it was going to be your tias, your primos, whoever it was. And you always wanted to be ready, even if it was just with a cup of coffee, right? Like, te pongo un cafecito. So I learned that at a very early age, the importance of just hospitality, right? Making people feel really welcomed in your space. And then I guess maybe my years of working in retail and customer service really helped, you know, like in the 90s, it was very different than what it is now. And I've always loved working with people. I've always loved connecting with people, making like meaningful relationships. And, you know, prior to my work at Moose, I used to be a hairstylist. I worked doing that, and I was at 18, I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly, but I knew I wanted to work with people, and I knew I loved making people feel good and welcomed. And I was either between going to cosmetology school or going to culinary school. And I was too afraid of culinary school at that time. I thought, I'm just like this, like the kitchen is going to be too much, and it's very like male. And I was 18, right? 17, 18. Yeah. So I went the other way, and I loved it as well. But my heart always was in food. And, you know, we cooked a lot at home, and, you know, it's how I nurture and give to others.
Built for it.
Built for it.
In a lot of ways.
That's how I express my love. It's how I saw my mom, my aunt, my grandmother, even my father was a really good cook. Yeah. Just that sense of just like, here's a nice plate. I made you something special. Yeah. Sit down, eat. Yeah. Let's talk. What's going on? Yeah. And I take that now every day into my business. Yeah. And, you know, I say this all the time, you know, people, when they're walking into the doors at Mooscraft Barbecue in Lincoln Heights, they're walking into our home. Like they were walking literally into our home in our backyard, literally, you know, and that experience that we gave them, that very personal, intimate experience with complete strangers, it was important to not lose that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, because like, you know, it used to be, I think Starbucks coined it as the third place, but like restaurants, coffee shops, cafes, like other places, there are third places. You know, it's not our work, it's not our home, but it's like that place that we can, you know, at the very best, have one of the most amazing experiences, or just like
feel comfortable. Just feel comfortable. Yeah. You know, that you can tell a lot about a place when you walk in, like just by, it's a good vibe, right? Sure. It's a vibe. You could tell by how people are eating, how they're socializing, by their smiles. You could tell a lot by your team, how they're interacting. So all of that contributes, and that's all we've ever wanted, right? Is for to make people feel at home, sit down, have a good meal, and forget about your troubles. You know, just forget it. Like just sit down, have a beer,
even for just a moment.
Even for just a moment. Yeah. That's what food does, whether it's barbecue or not. And that's why we love it so much. Yeah, it really is super special. There's nothing else like it.
I love that. We talked last week a little bit about your father and his quiet influence on what has become. You know, which I loved. If he could see the line out the door, what do you hope he'd feel?
Do you want to say that? Because I'll probably start.
I think he'd be proud.
I'll get into it after.
Without question.
I think he would miss with me. We used to golf a lot. And when I was starting to do good, he'd like get in my head. So probably so he could still beat me. And like, oh, you should do this. So he probably, and because he liked to cook, I feel like
he can't would make it too easy.
He would definitely be in there, but like, oh, you guys should do this, or what about that? You know, I think like, even though he would never work for us, I think he would always try to have like an influence, like, oh, have you guys thought about this? So I think those are some of the things that even me, like I knew him since I was 16 when I met him, and he definitely helped me grow and point me into a direction to like become a better person. And so I think he would definitely be proud of both of us. Even I get a little thinking about him. I remember, and you know what? I think he might even be shocked. And you know, I've come a long way from the 5 minutes he had me manage his grill one time. You know, he went to, I don't know, he had to go to the market. He needed an ingredient. And, you know, he was like, can you watch the grill? And I was like, okay. And it was a little Weber, and he had like Korean, like short ribs on there, and they cook fast. And if you don't know what you're doing, they're going to be gone. And I burned them. You know? So I think he would also probably always give me crap about that, just in a fun way.
Because he's got to keep you humble.
Yeah. Oh, I used to do that to him. He used to do that to me. So I definitely miss that. But I know for sure he would be proud of both of us.
Yeah. I think my dad would be extremely proud. I missed him every day. My dad really was a huge mentor. You know, not only because he was my father, but to many. There's just this. He had this really special way about him. And, my dad would tell me when I was younger and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think my dad always saw something in me that made him feel like my daughter would do really great if she went to like culinary school. And I really thought, like, why would my dad push that so much? Like I didn't see what he was seeing, and sure, I enjoyed it, but I didn't really understand it. And now that I look back and I think about it, I'm like, wow, like, my dad saw something, but he just didn't, or maybe it was just being a teenager and didn't listen. But I think he'd be extremely proud. I don't know if there'd be anybody like more proud than my father. And I know he is proud, even though he's not with us. I feel I'm very spiritual. And so I always feel that in many ways he planted a seed without even knowing before his departure, because he passed away very young at 51, very suddenly. But all of this kind of happened, or right around the time that, he got sick. And I always feel like I have a special angel watching over, guiding us.
Literally, a lot of the steps were his influence. So, I graduated. I went to school for a little bit. It really wasn't my thing. I got into real estate when it was like really hot in the early 2000s. And I didn't like that salesy aspect. I felt not right for me. But I did it for a little while. And then I could see like the writing on the wall, like this thing is going to blow up soon. And I wanted to do something different. And he was doing a law school, and he was a claims adjuster for a big company. And I always seen him as stable, steady. And how do I do something like that? So he was like, well, I teach these classes also. Come and take a class.
I
Maybe,
can't stay out of here.
no, it was like at a building off of Wilshire. I took a class. It was interesting. He put me in contact with like a recruiting company. I got a job as a temp, and then I actually got hired. And within that group, I was the only one to become an underwriter. Everyone else moved on when they couldn't move up, but it was just like those little steps. And then, me getting into that industry also led me to Texas, because when I became an underwriter, some of my my territory was Dallas and Houston. So not knowing that I was going to go there to change my complete direction, like that was all part of like his influence too. So it was like, if you ever make it to Texas, and I think I didn't get to Texas until after he had passed, you should like try Texas style barbecue. And so it was just like, without him really knowing it, like he planted those seeds, like Michelle said.
The seeds were planted, and his fingerprints
are
kind of all a part of Moose, which that's what I took away last week when we were chatting, and I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like, we all have the ability, whether it's family members or friends, to affect each other in profound ways that we don't even necessarily know. But that's why I think it is so important to show up with love and intention and enthusiasm, because you never know how you might affect someone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, and I think we see that now at the restaurant. Like, there's a lot of people, sometimes married couples. I think a lot of times when it's married couples, they'll approach us because they might not be in our state, or they might be, but in a different county, or like up north or wherever, but they're coming to try Moose. And, we're there a lot, but, not all day. But a lot of times when we're there and we walk through the dining room and we greet customers will be like, hey, can I talk to you guys for a second? Like, you guys are like so inspiring to us. We're doing this little pop-up, and it's just like, in the beginning it was really weird, like, can I take a picture with you? And it's just like, okay. But we also realized, wow, like, we just see ourselves as Andrew and Michelle from LA, and we have a cool little restaurant, but the amount of people that like are influenced by some of the things that we do, it's are inspired by what we do, is really humbling, and also is one of the reasons why we do it how we do it. We don't cut the corners. We don't franchise and make it this big old thing, because that's not really who we are. And it's just it's crazy. I still can't get over that, but it's just, you never know who you're going to influence, or how you're going to do it.
Even Nancy said that. She's like, after Chef's Table, she's like, people come up to me and you inspire me, and she's like, me?
Yeah, it's an imposter syndrome.
Hold on, time out. No, like,
Yeah.
but it is. I think I said this to her. It's like, there is something about people going after their dreams, something going after, because it's scary and it's difficult, and like the world and culture and everything is kind of against that in a lot of ways, because like it's so hard, you know, but if you can get past the first challenge, the second challenge, the third challenge, and then you kind of get like, people are so inspired by that, because like, wow, they did it.
Yeah.
They did, despite all of the,
and we surprise ourselves too.
Yeah.
I think that's the most beautiful thing that I've learned throughout this journey, and I know it's never going to stop. So I'm just like, keep it coming. I know it's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to be rough, but keep it coming. It levels you up.
Yeah. Just like, I want it to slow down a little bit. Like,
yeah, of course.
You know, and then you get it and you're super grateful. And it's just like, why was I thinking like that? You know?
This is something I was thinking about earlier, and kind of what we're talking about right now, even with the seeds that your dad had planted. But like, if Moos never existed, what part of yourselves do you think would be undiscovered?
Oh man, so much. Well, part of myself, I think my level of strength.
Yeah.
My level of strength. It has pushed me in ways that I never knew. And there's been many times where I've been like, I can't.
Yeah.
I doubted myself. I can't. But I think where Andrew and I were so different, but it complements, because I have certain strengths and he has certain strengths, and we push each other. I was just telling him, I think this phase where we're at is probably my favorite phase in our relationship in all these years, because it's been the most challenging. But it has also pushed us to see not just deeper into us as a couple, but really like into ourselves, what we're capable of. You know, like I don't think any other career could have pushed our limits individually and together like this. And I think everything that has come out of it is almost like, wow, I learned that. Like I passed that test and I learned that. And now I know for better for next time. I think for me really is resilience and strength, and knowing that I'm capable of a lot. You know, I've overcome a lot, and that's been so cool.
When you make it through those challenges, it builds that confidence.
Yeah, as
like
a leader,
so much.
I didn't know I could lead. You know, I didn't know. I was like, I've never done this before. It's the whole team. I have 2 kids, but it's different. You know, even as a leader, you know, I've learned so much about just figuring it out. You know, it hasn't really been easy, but it also has brought on a lot of pride. You know, it's like, what else am I can't have to. We were talking about fear earlier. You know, it's like, it starts to diminish little, but it'll always be there. But you start to build that courage. Yeah. You start to build that courage because of the experiences that you have.
I love that. As someone's listening or watching at home and they've heard of you guys, but they maybe haven't gone and tried or got in the car from wherever they're at in Los Angeles, or they're flying in, like, just like, what should they get? Like literally go like, okay, you get there, like, this is what you need. this is what you need to get. We'll be there with smiles. The team will be there with smiles. But like, what should they eat?
Are they going by themselves?
Yeah,
the burger.
You're like, just get the burger. Come on.
No, I say that because the burger has its own following these days.
Its own very loyal following.
It's a Texas-style barbecue joint, so get the brisket. Especially if you've had it at different places, if you've had it throughout LA at different places, or if you're not a fan of brisket because it's been so bad at a lot of places because you haven't been to Texas, have ours. If you've gone through Texas and know what brisket should be, try ours. I think our brisket stands up there with some of the best brisket out there, but definitely have the brisket, have the verde sausage because that's us. You know, you can get a jalapeno cheddar and like probably 500 different barbecue spots across Texas. So it's not original. It's just a classic staple. So if you're not super adventurous, go with that one. But I would say get the brisket, get the sausage, and
Don't sleep on the sides.
the sides. I'm trying to think of.
I'm waiting.
I'm trying to. Yeah. She's like, yeah. I mean, I love the kimchi fried rice.
Why is it taking you so long?
Some dessert.
Yeah. Meats. I'm going down the menu. You start with the meats.
The key lime pie.
Yeah, get the key lime pie.
I was kind of like, I should have taken one home.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I needed to eat it there, but I was like, I should have. I was like, I got to come back.
You
and get
crushed
that.
it. Your dad crushed them too.
Glad you enjoyed.
Yeah, but so those two for meats, if you're just by yourself, brisket and a sausage link, I think is perfect. If you come in with someone else, get the ribs too. Ribs are our ribs. I love our ribs. But the sides, you can't go wrong with any of the sides. They're all seasoned great. If you want something not so traditional, get the kimchi fried rice. We do pork belly burnt-ins at the restaurant, and we trim the edges after it's smoked, and we incorporate that into a kimchi fried rice. So that's my favorite side. If I'm going in the morning, if I want like a quick bite, I wait for them to finish it, and then I was like, I gotta test it, guys. I gotta make sure it's right, and I'll scoop that. I'm not the biggest fan of mac and cheese, but our mac and cheese is really good. It's 4 or 5 different cheeses, has a nice little panko on top. It's creamy. I have parents who hate mac and cheese, but order their own mac and cheese just for them because they love it now. So yeah, if you're going for a traditional, get the mac. The beans are good, but definitely get the mac and the kimchi fried rice, and then go to the bar and talk to Sam, and he'll point you in the direction of a beer that you're feeling, because we have 22 beers on tap. So the rotation's always changing, but we do have some of like LA's best beers. We have like Highland Park on tap, and we're one of the few that have Monkish on tap. Not a lot of places have them, and we do, because we used to do pop-ups at their place. So yeah, definitely come for those items and a beer, and finish off with the key lime pie.
Or banana pudding.
It's banana pudding's really good. To me, it's like baby food in a cup, but people love it. Or tres leches bread pudding. But
or
the key
one
lime
of Selena's cookies.
Yeah, we have so many desserts now. But she has influence on all the desserts that, whether we created it or not, she works with our pastry lady at the restaurant. But if you want something that was us from the early days, it's the key lime pie. It's so good, and it's
amazing.
It's nice and tart. It refreshes the palate. You know, And if I get into that coffee rabbit hole, you might be able to get a drink on the side down the line.
Are you dropping some?
No, but I was gonna say, I was like, are we
exclusive?
Why is there not a coffee option? We might need to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love that. I won't say now, but I would love to do something, fun like that in the future. An offspring of some sort of Moose, when the moment's right. There's still so much more potential and growth that can happen. This is, like we talked about, it's definitely, it's reached a lot in a very short period of time. Sure. We've reached a lot. I'm extremely proud of it, but I'm also extremely excited to see what the future continues to hold for us, because can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. I love, but balance. Or trying to architect some balance.
So important. Sustainability. So important. That's definitely been our goal.
For us, for the team, making sure that they feel that they're being taken care of too. So
important.
What's a life lesson you can leave us with?
A life lesson.
I mean, both of you have been dropping bombs the whole time.
Let's do it.
I think if you really love something and you want to do it. Take the risk. I think you asked like a question Michelle answered about, like, she didn't realize how strong she could be, and I see that like every day, every month, like certain ways she manages the team, like I'm just like, damn, I'm proud to have her as my partner in life and at the restaurant. I think she makes the team better there, and she makes it better with the food that we make. Right, I'm the meats guy. Right, I love doing barbecue, but I also love it because it's simple. I think she makes the food exciting. I think the vibe is a lot more her than me. I do my part, but that's her strength. But I think if you love it, do it. Don't do it whether it's barbecue or something else, don't do it just because of the money, right? Like, we do okay, but the industry's hard. Just because you're doing good today doesn't mean you're going to do good tomorrow. It only takes a one bad month and you're a little worried. But I think, don't be afraid of the risk. I think I didn't grow up in a family that were entrepreneurs. My grandpa owned a furniture business. So that's my only like childhood experience of someone not working for someone. Everyone else I knew worked for supermarket, truck drivers, different things. But so I think when I grew up, it was just like, how do I find a steady job? How do I find something safe? And I did that, and I was bored out of my mind. It was great. I met a lot of good people, and I grew from it. But I think I wasn't like fulfilled or happy. And I saw barbecue, but I also saw it as like, damn, that's scary. Like I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of like if this fails, it's maybe because of me, not because I'm not going to try. Because when I put my mind on something, like I definitely give it my all. So I think if you have that, if you want to do something, like don't be afraid of the risk. I think do it. I get a lot of people maybe wanting to come into barbecue because that's usually the people that approach me, and it's just like, yeah, do it. Like, what's your Instagram page? I'll look you up. I'll give you a follow. If you have any questions, reach out. Because I had that when I started. I reached out to some of the guys thinking they're not gonna hit me up. I'm this guy from LA, and all these guys are in Texas, and just like, oh, what do you need help with? Yeah, do this, try that.
Cool.
So I think don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you want to do it, take that risk. You might
sin miedo.
Yeah, you might be happy with the result with your choice. Yeah.
Michelle, do you have anything to add to that?
I have to say I'm on the same page with him. I have this letter that I opened up that my father wrote to me years ago when I was just a young girl. And every once in a while, when I need it the most, I open it. And one of the things that he highlights the most on there is, mija, you just have to go for it. Like, no matter what, it's just him. And when I need that push, I open it up and I take that with me every day, that when we do start to feel like, okay, something's being given to us or an opportunity, I'm scared. What do I do? It's like, how do I dive in? You just have to go for it. But I have to just go back and say too, just listen to your intuition, every single opportunity is the right opportunity. Listen to that. And I think that's something that we've always listened to since the early days of Moose, even when we didn't have that experience. That is your gut telling you, listen to it. It's real. It will help guide you. And but at the same time, don't lose that passion. Don't lose that vision. Continue to hustle, continue to stay focused and grounded. And when the right opportunity comes along, take it. Take it. Because living with the regret, is it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You want to be able to seize the moment when you can, know that you tried. And at the end of the day, is how we saw it. When we decided to do it, we were like, we'll give it 1 year.
Yeah.
That was our goal. Like, we're going to do it. This is the end of 2018. Give it a year. We're going to call Zach at Smorgasburg LA, and we're going to tell him yes to his offer. And
he didn't believe me when I called
him. And we're going to see how it goes. And if it doesn't go anywhere, we won't, that's it. I won't be mad at you. You won't get mad at me. We both shook on it, agreed on it, and we'll figure it out at the end of 2019. But we're going to go for it. And it's not going to be easy. And we don't know what the hell we're doing, but we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And look where it got us.
Yeah. We're glad you did.
Thank you, Gabe.
Thank
of course.
you.
Thank the both of you.